Hello, my dearest. We are going to present the final episode of our chemistry program this year. We are going to present the final or last revision in this year, and I hope inshallah to get the best result in the exam, and the questions and the problems will be easy for you. And remember, you have to look for any conversions units in the right way, and inshallah we are going to discuss the different type of problems and the questions. So let us start. The first type of choose questions is graph questions. In the opposite figure, we have galvanic cell containing two half cells. One of them is zinc half cell that contains zinc plate immersed in zinc ions, and the other half cell containing copper plate immersed in copper positive 2 ions. The anode in this galvanic cell is what? Is it zinc positive 2, copper positive 2, copper, zinc? If you look at the graph here, we know that the direction of electrons starts from the anode towards the cathode. So zinc here is the anode for this galvanic cell. The cathode in this galvanic cell, is it zinc positive 2, copper positive 2, zinc and copper? If you look at the graph again, we know that the direction of current ends at the copper electrode. So copper electrode is the cathode for this galvanic cell. The value of EMF if H2S gas passes in the copper half cell, doubled, halved, remains constant, equal 0. We know that the H2S gas will precipitate the copper ions, so no more copper ions will be precipitated, so the EMF equal 0. The value of EMF if the zinc half cell is substituted by magnesium half cell, is it 0, increase, half its value, decrease? We know that the magnesium oxidation potential is higher than zinc, or we can say magnesium is more active than zinc. So the value of the EMF will be increased as the difference in electric potential between magnesium and the copper is more than that between zinc and the copper. So the answer is increase. The value of the EMF if the salt bridge is raised from the two solution of the cell, doubled, halved, remains constant, equal 0. We know that the salt bridge that remains the neutrality of the two half cells. So if removing the salt bridge, each half cell will be saturated with excess ions. So the EMF equals 0 if we raise the salt bridge. The value of the EMF if the salt bridge contains barium chloride solution, is it doubled, halved, remains constant, equals 0. We know that the barium chloride precipitates the sulfate ions as barium sulfate. So the sulfate ions will not be present, so the EMF equal 0. Second type of questions, of graph questions. In the following graph, graph B illustrates the mass of formed precipitate in a tube on adding excess sodium hydroxide to iron 3 chloride. As the graph shown is the graph number B. Which graph illustrates the addition of iron 2 chloride instead of iron 3 chloride? Is it graph C, graph A, graph D, or graph B? If you look at the graphs, we know that the mass of precipitate of iron 3 hydroxide is greater than iron 2 hydroxide. So the precipitate here must be at lower here concentration and lower mass, so we can get the graph C. Next point, which graph illustrates the addition of aluminum chloride instead of iron 3 chloride? Is it graph D, graph A, graph C, or graph B? If you look at the graphs, we know that the aluminum hydroxide precipitate reacts with excess of sodium hydroxide, forming soluble sodium metaaluminate. So graph D will be the right answer. Next question. The following graph expresses the energy curve of exothermic reaction. As shown in the diagram, reactants has higher energy than products that we know that is exothermic reaction. So the value of activation energy of forward reaction equals x, y, x plus y, x minus y. If you look at the graph, we know that the activation energy for the forward reaction, it will be x from the reactants level to the highest value. So the answer is x. The value of activation energy of backward reactions equals x plus y, y, x, x minus y. If you look at the graph, we know that the activation energy for backward reaction starts from the product to the top of the curve here, so it will be x plus y. So the answer is x plus y. The value of delta H equals negative y, x, x plus y, x minus y. If you look at the graph, the difference in energy between the reactants and the product represents the energy change for the reaction. So it will be y, or the value equal negative y of delta H. Next question. The following graph expresses the reaction CO plus H2O in equilibrium with hydrogen and carbon dioxide gas, and Kc for this reaction 4.5 at 800 degrees Celsius. This graph represents here the concentration of reactant decrease and the equilibrium, and the concentration of product increase at equilibrium. So if cooling happens in position Y, the type of the reaction is endothermic, exothermic, neutralization, combustion. If you look at the graph, we find that at position Y the reactants increase and the product decrease. So here the reaction must be endothermic, as the reactants gain heat to give the products, and so the reaction move in the backward direction, and so reactant increase and product increase. So the reaction is endothermic. The value of Kc after cooling the system, is it doubled, increase, remains constant, or decrease? If you look at the graph, we find that as the product decrease and the reactant increase, and we know that Kc equal concentration of product over concentration of reactant, so Kc decrease. Next point. What would happen to the equilibrium position in the previous reaction on adding carbon monoxide gas? Is it not affected? Shift right, shift left, or reverse it? If you look at the graph, as the reactant increase, the reaction shift forward. So the reactant decrease and the product increase. What that means that the reaction shifts right. What would happen to the equilibrium position in the previous reaction on adding carbon dioxide gas? Is it not affected? Shift left, shift right, or reverse it? If you look at the graph, as the product increase, the reaction shifts backward direction, so reactants increase and products decrease. So it shifts left. Next question. Equal masses of powdered calcium carbonate were added to separate solution of hydrochloric acid. The calcium carbonate was in excess. The volume of carbon dioxide gas produced was measured at regular intervals. As the graphs show the volume of carbon dioxide gas produced and the time, we have four curves. 1 and 2 gives more amount of carbon dioxide, and 3 and 4 give less amount of carbon dioxide. Where the graph 1 occurs at lower time, that the rate of reaction is faster than reaction and the curve 2. So, which curves best represent the evolution of carbon dioxide gas against time for the acid solution shown in the table below? Here we have 25 cubic centimeter of 2 molar hydrochloric acid, this concentration and this volume for the first column, and second column volume 50 cubic centimeter of 1 molar hydrochloric acid, and third column 25 cubic centimeter of 1 molar hydrochloric acid. So which choice we are going to choose? If you look at the graph, here the solution. If you look at the graph, we find in the curve number 1, the concentration time volume, we get the higher concentration, which is 2 molar, times the volume 25 times 10 to the power negative 3 to change it into liter. And in the second graph, we use the same result for number of moles, but here the concentration is lower, not 2 molar, it will be 1 molar. While the next graph, which is number 3, as the concentration is 1 molar and here the volume is 25, so the number of moles will be less than the previous two solutions. So we can find that the graphs represent the right answer 1 and 2 and 3 as shown in the PowerPoint show. Which of the curves of the following graph show the greatest initial rate? This question illustrates that how can we know the rate of the reaction which be greatest in the initial rate. As shown on the graph, here we are going to choose the reaction rate at time equals 0. So as shown, number C, the graph number C, gives the highest initial rate for the rate of the reaction. Next kind of choose questions, choose the correct answer from A, B, or C, or D. Given that the standard reduction potential of silver positive ion bar silver equals 0.8, nickel positive 2 nickel gives negative 2.3 volt, and sodium positive ion bar sodium negative 2.711 volt. All the following statements are true except one. So we are going to choose the wrong answer. The best oxidizing agent is silver, so which is right as the reduction potential of silver is higher. The best reducing agent is sodium. This is right also as sodium has higher oxidation potential. Nickel has the ability to oxidize silver here and nickel before silver in the electrochemical series. We find the answer is number C, as silver has the ability to oxidize nickel, not the reverse. Next one of the changes is incorrect. In nickel cadmium cell, cadmium is oxidized at the anode by hydroxide ion. During the electrolysis of molten sodium chloride, sodium ion reduced at the cathode. In the electroplating process, the body to be bended connected to the negative pole of battery. All of these are right. But during discharge of lead accumulator, the concentration of sulfuric acid not increase as the statement says, so this is the incorrect answer of these statements. Next question. when adding 10 milliliter of nitric acid, its concentration is 1 molar, to 10 milliliter of calcium hydroxide, its concentration is 1 molar. Then adding litmus solution to the solution, the color becomes red, blue, orange, purple. We find that the right answer here is blue. Why? Because it is basic solution. In spite of equal number of mole, but calcium hydroxide ionized to give 2 hydroxide ions, which is twice the number of hydrogen ion produced from the acid. So it is basic solution. Next one, in the following reaction, if the number of moles of each reactant consumed after 1 minute was measured, which would have been consumed at least? This equation, represents the reactions. We are going to choose which one has the least consumed. Is it IO3 negative, or I negative, or H positive, or they would all have been consumed to the same extent? If you think about this, we have to choose the number of moles which are the least among the reactants. So the answer here, it will be IO3 negative. Next question. Based on the definition for rate of reaction, which units are used for the rate? Is it mole liter negative power 3, or mole time power negative time 1, negative 1, or liter time power negative 1, or mole liter power negative 3 and time power negative 1? We know that the rate of reaction is concentration per time. So we have to choose the units of concentration over the unit of time. So it will be mole liter power negative 3 concentration unit over the time, which is time negative power negative 1. Next question. Consider the following standard electrode potential. Chromium positive 3 ion plus 3 electrons give chromium, this reduction potential of chromium, and iron positive 3 plus electron gives iron positive 2, and the electromotive here of this potential of reduction of iron positive 3, 0.77 volt. From these two equations, we know that the reduction potential of iron is higher than the reduction potential of chromium. So what will be the cell potential if the voltaic cell in which the following reaction takes place? Here, my dear student, we are going not to choose the greatest reduction potential for the cathode and the lowest for the anode. We are going to choose the anode and the cathode upon the equation here. Which is oxidized here, it will be the anode. Which is reduced will be the cathode. So according to this reaction, chromium is oxidized, while iron positive 3 is reduced. So chromium is the anode and iron is the cathode. So here we get the EMF of the cell, it will be positive 1.51 volt. My dear students, I have discussed with you different types of questions and the problems, and I hope you understood all these points and different types of problems. And then Mr. Ala is going to continue with you different type of questions. مع تمنياتي لكم بالتوفيق والنجاح إن شاء الله.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adel. My dear students, what about to complete our episode today? Today we have important revision. Do you know why? Because we need full mark. Are you ready for this target? Yes. Let's go and see. First, choose the correct answer from A, B, C, or D. This multi-choice. This it means you must concentrate. The first, 4 elements A, B, C, and D. The element A used as catalyst. Do you know catalyst? Concentrate for this. In this preparation of what? Of ammonia gas in industry. One of the compound of the element B used as oxidizing agent. Take care, be oxidizing agent in the dry cell. But the element C used in manufacture of heating coil, and the element D at the first discovered metal. A, B, and C elements. What happened? I say, based on the previous information, the correct arrangement of these four elements will be which one? A, Fe, Ni, Cu, Mn. This arrangement, right or wrong? Or Mn, V, Fe, zinc, Zn. Or V, Zn, Mn, Fe, or Fe, Mn, Ni, Cu. Take care. I need the first one work as a strong catalyst and the other oxidizing agent and so on. So the good answer, iron, Fe, Mn, manganese, Ni, nickel, Cu is a copper. This is the best arrangement. Let's fly to this question. Which of the following hydroxide soluble in excess of sodium hydroxide? Soluble, dissolve in sodium hydroxide? Yes. Do you think, what this? Zinc hydroxide, or aluminium hydroxide, or copper 2 hydroxide, or only A and B? Which one dissolve? I can say aluminium hydroxide dissolve in sodium hydroxide to be sodium metaaluminate. You know? What about the other question? What is the mass of MgOH2 needed to neutralize 125 milliliter of hydrochloric acid? You must know its concentration 0.136 mole per liter. How can I answer this question? This question is multi-choice, I know. He say 0.245 gram, or 0.493 grams, or 0.986 grams, or 1.972 grams. To catch these questions, what I do, I need the mass. I can't find it without number of the moles. I say the answer here, 0.493 grams. How can I know that? I can know by find the number of moles. The following compounds are cyclic, except all of them cyclic? Yes, but except one is not cyclic. Let's see. I say here A, C6H12, cyclic, or C6H6, benzene, cyclic, or C4H8, cyclic, or C5H12. Which one suitable to be cyclic? Directly we say C5H12 not cyclic. Why? Is not completed for its ring. C6, yes, can be C6H12, C6H6, C4H8, right, except C5H12. What about this question? The functional group of bicric acid is bicric acid. Take care from this word. I know, and also you know, CHO, NH2, COOH, or OH. Aldehyde, amine group, carboxylic group, hydroxyl group. Catch the answer. It will be sure OH. Why OH? Because it's a bicric acid. It's a good question. Let's see this also. From the previous, what is only condition that makes the system in equilibrium? Equilibrium system, yes, concentrate for conditions. Increasing temperature, yes, can be equilibrium, or decreasing the amount of ammonia from the system, or putting the system in a closed container, or increasing the pressure. Equilibrium, what it needs? I say putting a system in closed container to arrive to what? To equilibrium system. It's good, my dear. To catch this question, which of the following pairs is considered as isomer? Isomer, you remember isomer? Yes, has the same what? Yeah, same formula for molecular and different in structure formula. Let's see. C2H5O, C2H5 and CH3CH2OH can be isomer. What about the other one? The other one, CH3, CH2, CH2, C2H5 and CH3, CH2, CH3 can be isomer. Concentrate. What about the other example? I say HCOOC2H5 and C2H5CHO or CH3COCH3 and CH3CH2CHO. Directly we'll choose CH3COCH3 and CH3CH2CHO. Why? Same molecular formula, differ for the structure formula. What about this question? I have X is ion. Yes, X ion of transition element. This ion, no, ion need what? Yeah, X positive 3. Now I have ion. Electronic configuration, what? 18 AR. Oh yeah, argon has an atomic number 18. And 4S here, 0. At the same time, 3D, yeah, 5 electron. So, its atomic number is atomic number 24, 25, 26, 27. Which one is suitable? I say here 26. Why 26? How? From where? Remember back to the arrangement for orbitals 1s, 2s, 3s until arrive to last one. 3d has 5 electron. 5 and also low 3. So if you make addition for this number, you can find 26. It's easy and important, my students. We arrived to the end for this revision. There is a lot of question, I know that. But I know you are excellent students. Concentrate for each question. Concentrate for each choice to get a full mark. With my best wishes. See you next year, inshallah, in university. Goodbye.